With the arrival of winter's low dark sky, communities around the world look to the miracle of light as a sign of rebirth and a source of hope. Each Sunday during December, this time of winter's arrival and darkening skies, we at UUUC acknowledge the turning of the seasons and the coming of the new life with the return of the light, and recommit ourselves to the protection of everyone's right to his or own radiant humanity. Our first candle symbolized hope and expectation. Last Sunday's second candle was a symbol of joy that cannot be contained. This morning, we light this third candle for love, as a reminder that there is no greater power in the world than love. As we continue to meet through recorded services, I know how many of us are missing the beloved community of in-person services. It's important to make every effort to stay connected with one another during this physical separation. Please call and check with the other members of our congregation. If you're using YouTube, help others who might find it difficult to do so, in order that as many of us as possible can participate in our services. Now, if you want to participate in after-service discussions and haven't yet used Zoom, just Google the Zoom to download the free app and follow the easy prompts. Once you've done that and signed up for the free Zoom account, you can click on the link in your email that Michael Wheeler sends out each week. If you miss the after-service discussion, they are recorded. So like our services, you can view them anytime on YouTube. Services are generally uploaded on Saturday nights. Otherwise, these discussions are recorded so you can view them anytime on YouTube, just like our services. And since you are using YouTube to view this service, please click on the red subscribe button. This will make it much easier to find us each week, actually anytime. In addition to services and discussions, we also have meditations and interviews. There's a lot to check out. And if you're having trouble hearing our services, you can click on the CC, closed captioning, found at the bottom of your screen, and captions will appear so that you can read along as you watch. We thank Michael Wheeler and Lucy Swangham for their work on producing these videos of our services each week. Well done.
I'm Lelaine. Each Sunday, we light this chalice flame, the symbol of our faith, to gather us into community and warm our hearts with the light of love. Today, in this season of change, like no other season, our chalice gives us a light of love, as always, to follow as we carry our faith into our daily lives in the uncertain times of this year coming. Our chalice is our light of love. There are other traditions in the world that also use light as a very, very important part of their religion. In many of the world religions like ours, there's a deep spiritual tradition and a faith foundation based on light. as we have experienced with our own Unitarian Universalism. And today I'm going to begin by talking about two. Hanukkah. In the Jewish faith, Hanukkah, which started this year on December 10th, Jews begin this holiday with the lighting of a menorah. This tradition dates back to the 2nd century BCE, when the Holy Land was ruled by Syrian Greeks who tried to force people of Israel to accept Greek culture and beliefs. Struggle developed. And against all odds, a small band of faithful but poorly armed Jews, led by Judah the Maccabee, defeated one of the mightiest armies on earth and drove the Greeks from their land. The Jewish people reclaimed the Holy Temple in Jerusalem and rededicated it to the service of God. The rest of the story may be familiar to many of you. When they sought to light the temple's menorah, they found only a single day of oil available. Miraculously, when they lit the menorah, the one-day supply of oil lasted for 8 days. Thus, the menorah has space for 8 candles. Today and throughout all these centuries, Jewish people light 8 candles each of the 8 days of Hanukkah, not for light to see by, not for light for any reason. Candles are lit for the pure light of faith, representing light that is forever, like faith, and not based on any human reason. Faith that can last much longer than one night's oil. There are 3 blessings that are said before the candle lightings. They all begin with, "Blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe." And the first is, "Who has sanctified us with his commandments and commanded us to kindle the Hanukkah light." The second, "Blessed are you, Lord our God of the universe, who performed miracles for our forefathers in those days and at this time." The third, which is recited only on the first night, is, "Blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who has granted us life, sustained us, and enabled us to reach this occasion." Listen now to some of that very special experience.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Chanukah.
The next religion we're going to talk about is Kwanzaa. Light is also important in the celebration of Kwanzaa. This holiday is a call to celebrate the richness of what it means to have African roots. 7 candles are lit in a kinara, each symbolizing one of the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. A black candle is lit on the first day. The candles are then lit from left to right on the remaining 6 days of Kwanzaa. Red candles are lit after the black candle to symbolize the struggle of the black community. And the green candles are lit last to represent the hope coming from the struggle. Again, Light is so important. The 7 candles that are lit, one each day, are dedicated to the 7 principles of Kwanzaa, developed in 1965. First principle on day 1 is to strive for and maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race. The second principle is self-determination and marks day 2. The essence of this principle is to define ourselves, name ourselves, create for ourselves, and speak for ourselves. This principle summons a people to write their own narrative. Day 3, the candle is about collective work and responsibility, as is that principle, to build and maintain community together and to make our brothers and sisters' problems our problems to solve together. That 4th candle and day and principle is about building and maintaining support for our stores, our shops, our businesses, and to profit from them together. Day 5, to make collective vocation the building and developing of our community in order to restore our people to their traditional greatness. 6th candle, creativity. To do always as much as we can in the way we can in order to leave our community more beautiful and more beneficial than we inherited it. And lastly, the candle is about faith. To believe with all our hearts in our people, our parents, our teachers, our leaders, and the righteousness and victory of our struggle. The late Maya Angelou explains in The Black Candle, a 2008 documentary on Kwanzaa, while the first principle of Umoja brings us closer and harnesses our strength, the last principle, Imani, inspires and sustains our togetherness. Let us have faith in ourselves, in our Creator, in our mothers and fathers, in our grandmothers and grandfathers, in our elders, and in our future, knowing we are more than keepers of our brothers and sisters. We are brothers and sisters. And that is Kwanzaa, celebrated this year and every year from December 26th through January 1st.
For each child that's born, the morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child
as the people who celebrate Hanukkah and the candle lighting of Kwanzaa, they are honoring their values and remembering the stories of their faith. We here in the Unitarian Universalist congregation light a chalice each Sunday in faith that the energy of the light in the darkness will challenge us to discover what our beloved community can do to find the way of love, and the respect for all can lead us to insight and action. Many spiritual systems share symbols. The birth of a child is one of them. The presence of a magnificent star is another. And blessings of magi and lowly people and animals are common aspects of holy stories. It is as if a newborn is commonly experienced as an opportunity to take a breath and start again to find love's way. After all, a child is vulnerable and totally dependent on loving care. Essentially, nothing changes. We all do better when our hearts grow amid loving care. We call that beloved community in Unitarian Universalism. We support questions, honoring doubts that lead to enlightened understanding. We learn to trust, to listen, to consider everyone's searching for meaning in life at any given moment. However, the world is happening. So we look to love's way to react and respond in ways that feel like care, not punishment. These are frightening times. We need to be unflinchingly honest about that. The first step toward lighting the way forward is to respect the independent web of all existence of which we are a part, which is our seventh principle. The energy of people in the streets this summer in support of acknowledging that we have dark spots in our beliefs about how prejudice is a rigid aspect of life in our country. Now that it is talked about openly, we want the courage to see clearly what systemic means and how does that love guide us to respond. The other issues of our day are making a chaos of things. Everything is cracked open, showing its shadows. It is time for the bright light of our imaginations to see that each shadowed function needs to serve us all better and bring loving care into the fore. The entire world has been thrust in dramatic change, with lots of emotions trying to find ease. As months go on, we deal with what is all manner of possibilities come to life, maybe light greater than candles. We are seeing that deep change is and always was possible. That is both radicalizing and empowering. A great candle we can all light, if we use our imaginations, is to find the joy in the possible. Yes, that's iffy, but it is there. We may not know where the joy will be when it all evolves, but we can believe it will be there. That's taking a stand for joy. Let's keep that clear. So step one is to identify the now, what it looks like, what it feels like, what it moves like. If it were a dance, how would that go? Yes, that's kind of a dark tone. But step two is to clarify how you imagine it will feel when it evolves into something that allows you to live as you want to live. We don't know how, but we know how it will feel. So it's a process. Now, these are instructions. You put the now over here in this hand. Actually, when I do this, I draw a little picture. And there's a lot of down in the picture. Then you think about how I want to feel. And I imagine it's over here in this hand. And I feel the joy. And I maybe even do the dance. And I will know it happened when I feel that way. And I hold that thought for 90 seconds. Egg timers are helpful. And then I give thanks, and I trust that what is going to happen through my intention of finding joy will be joyous. It feels strange, so you have to give it a month. You have to do it every day for a month. It's kind of like prayer. It's just a suggestion. Things will begin to change. Or maybe we will become aware that they were different than we thought. Or we will become a part of the new. What used to be possible is. So maybe we will begin to see how the other 6 principles of Unitarian Universalism can guide us into a life that means what we want it to mean.
On or around December 21st, pagans around the world celebrate Yule, or the winter solstice, when the dark half of the year gives way to the light half. The sun will grow in strength every day from that point until the summer solstice. In general, pagan holidays follow the seasons of the year. For early pagans, Yule was a time to dance around fires and light candles to encourage the return of the sun. Even in ancient times, it was a time to share food with everyone. As an initiated Druid, I can speak with the most authority about the Druidic traditions, although it is closely related to other pagan traditions such as Wicca. In ancient times, on the night before the Yule festival, a Druid would be sent to the easternmost hilltop with a lantern, where he would hold an all-night vigil and wait for the new sun. When it makes its first appearance, he would then wave his lantern to tell the others the sun is returning. In Celtic traditions, the Yule log was central in Celtic celebrations. Burning a massive chunk of ash, beech, or oak in the family hearth was both a celebration of the returning sun and a way to safeguard the house. The bigger the log, the longer it offered light, warmth, and protection. Its ashes would then be scattered over the field in spring to bring fertility. The pagan Yule log is one of the many ancient pagan practices that modern Christianity has taken and altered to be part of the holiday now known as Christmas. As many of us do now, at Yule time, ancient pagans decorated their homes with trees. To them, the Yule tree represented the tree of life, or the world tree. They decorated it with gifts and natural ornaments, such as fir tree cones, berries, sacred symbols of the gods. Wreaths symbolized the wheel of the year and the ending of a cycle and the beginning of another. Holly represented the male element and was used to decorate doors, windows, and fireplaces. The prickly leaves were thought to ward off evil spirits before they could enter the home. Holly also honored the Holly King. The leaves represented hope, while the berries represented fertility. Similarly, in celebration of the female element, mistletoe was a favored Yule decoration. Druidic priests used it in special ceremonies, especially during Yule time. The leaves represented fertility, and its white berries were the seed of the forest god, or oak king. The mistletoe had to be carefully harvested by the priests with golden scythes, while maidens gathered the branches before they fell to the ground, because they believed that if it touched the ground, its power would seep back into the earth. Druids then divided and used them in doorways as protection and fertility. Kissing under the mistletoe symbolized divine peace and love. Caroling, elves, gingerbread, and wassail all have their roots in pagan traditions. Gingerbread was only possible after the Crusades in the 11th century. It was considered a specialty bread, the baking of which was only allowed on holidays, and so it became a favored treat during Yule time. Wassail is an alcoholic drink made from apples, oranges, cloves, and other spices. Wassail and songs were then offered to neighbors and is associated with many songs that eventually evolved into modern-day Christmas carols. Even Santa Claus has his roots in pagan traditions. To modern Druids, Wiccans, and other pagans, Yule represents hope within darkness. With Yule comes the awaiting, the gestation before the return to light and warmth. Yule rituals are meant to entice the sun to return to the land. We can meditate on the rising sun today with candles and lights, focusing on peace and planetary well-being. So I offer this meditation. We join our hearts and minds together in time of meditation or prayer, spoken, silent, sung, and shared. It is a precious time, and all precious times want preparation. So I invite you to settle yourself in a straight position, both feet grounded on the floor, to take a deep breath and hold it until you notice your need to breathe out and relax. I invite you to close your eyes, for vision is the single most energy-intensive activity of our brains. These next 2 days are the days of the winter solstice, a time when those who are very attentive to the skies more than the sun, or note the sun that has relentlessly moved southward in the horizon since last June, seems to pause on its journey before beginning to climb northwards to center again. Yule is a time of pause. So pause. Relax. Rest. Be at peace. Spirit of winter rest, help us enjoy your peace in this quiet place. Remind us to pause during this season. Grant us awareness. Keep our gratitude fresh each day. May the songs in our heart be blessings and insights to us and to others, and may compassion always shine forth from the depths of our hearts.
Yalda is a celebration that has great significance in the Iranian calendar. It is the eve of the birth of Mithra, the sun god, who symbolized light, goodness, and strength on earth. Shabi Zahimer is a time of joy. The festival was considered one of the most important celebrations in ancient Iran and continues to be celebrated to this day for a period of more than 5,000 years. Yalda is a Syriac word meaning birth. In the 3rd century, Mithra worshippers adopted and used the term Yalda, specifically with reference to the birth of Mithra. It should also be noted that Yalda comes from the same Indo-European root word as Yule. In ancient Iran, the start of the solar year has been marked to celebrate the victory of light over darkness and the renewal of the sun. The last day of the Iranian month of Azir, which is the 21st of December, is the longest night of the year, when the forces of Ahriman, darkness, sometimes referred to as Angramanu, are assumed to be at their peak. While the next day, the first day of the month of Day, known Koran Ruz, is the 22nd of December, symbolizes the creator Ahura Mazda, the Lord of Wisdom. Since the days are getting longer and the nights shorter, this day marks the victory of the sun over darkness and goodness over evil. The occasion was celebrated and dedicated to Ahura Mazda on the first month of Day, spelled D-E-Y, which occurs between January and December. Fires would be burnt all night to ensure the defeat of the forces of Ahriman. Those would be feasts, acts of charity, a number of Zoroastrian deities honored, and prayers performed to ensure the total victory of the sun that was essential for the protection of winter crops. There would be prayers to God, Mithra, and feasts in his honor, since Mithra is an Izad and responsible for protecting the light of the early morning. It was also believed that Ahura Mazda would grant people's wishes on that day. One of the other themes of the festival was a temporary subversion of order, as the masters and servants reversed roles. The king dressed in white would change place with ordinary people. A mock king was crowned, and masquerades spilled into the streets. As the old year died, rules of ordinary living were relaxed. This tradition, in its original form, persisted until the fall of the Sasanian dynasty, approximately 224 to 651 Common Era, and is mentioned by the Persian polymath Biruni and others in the recordings of pre-Islamic rituals. The Iranian traditions merged into ancient Rome belief systems. The festival, dedicated to the ancient gods of seed time, Saturn, the Romans exchanged gifts, partied, and decorated their homes with greenery, which are traditions that we all see passed on during this season of Christmas. Indeed, Mithra, the sun god, the savior god of the Zoroastrian religion, has many parallels with Jesus, and it is not surprising that the Mithraic cult and houses of worship for Mithra, after the Christianization of Rome, were turned into Christian churches, and many Mithraic followers simply exchanged Mithra for Jesus.
Our closing words are by Deborah Hafner. As we enter another week of uncertainty in the world, let us remember that there's only one side, that of humanity and planet Earth. May we pray for peace. And may we remember to take very good care of ourselves, each other, and those we love. And maybe we can consider these words adapted from the Unity Prayer. The light of love surrounds us. Love enfolds us. The power of love protects us. Love watches over us. And wherever we are, love is. And now, as I extinguish the chalice, I'd like you to consider these words by Marnie Harmony. We seek the light that must come in to bathe the darkness. Yes, the light that is within each of us, but please, some more of that great Big Bang light. Enough light to create a new consciousness that has no room for hatred and violence.